By day, Steve Rendle is Masterton District Council's spokesperson. By night, he goes by the pseudonym Top Dresser, plays guitar and writes his own music.
I probably got into rock and roll late. There weren't a lot of records around my house, but I got my first job in Oamaru and had a flat where there were a lot of cool kids with lots of great music. So I got into the Clash heavily and haven't stopped really. It was a lot of punk rock to begin with, and then the Smiths came along and I found them impossible to copy, so it was still pretty much thrashy. And I played for a lot of years of just pretty basic stuff, and then I saw Justin Townes Earle. I don't know, people will probably have heard of him, but he is an astonishing guitar player, and that opened my eyes as to what you could do with the guitar, and that was relatively recently. So I've just tried, ditching the pick and playing with my fingers since then, and I love it. And of ongoing passions in my life, that's the thing that's lasted since I was young to now, and it's an old geezer playing music, original songs. It's such a lot of fun. You put yourself out there, you're a bit vulnerable, but on the other hand, you're completely bulletproof because no one can tell you that you're playing your own song wrong. And I think it's incredibly freeing.
As part of New Zealand Music Month, Steve performed a couple of his songs. It was part of the Wairarapa Times Age Tiny Desk Style series, showcasing artists in, you guessed it, The Office. Steve's first gig was in a band with friends called Goats in Russian, where things got pretty rowdy.
Back in Oamaru, we've decided we'd form a band. I bought a guitar, couldn't play, an expensive guitar and couldn't play. I think we had a party as a band and the police turned up and threatened to take our instruments, but it's Oamaru, all the cops, everyone knows everyone. It was a lot of fun. It is a fantastic thrill when you look up and you see people listening. Doesn't happen that often. It's not what drives me. I just, I play my guitar every night. My wife will attest to that. I think it's just an outlet which is, unfettered. It's a freedom from everything. So yeah, love it.
This New Zealand Music Month, local musicians are getting the opportunity to level up. Fellow musician and Times Age chief reporter Tom Taylor pulls the events together as well as recording and mixing sound for the region's up-and-coming artists. What would your message be to aspiring musicians in the Wairarapa?
There are a lot of musicians in the Wairarapa far more capable than me, and I'm in no position to tell anyone anything, but if you just keep playing. I spend most of my time playing in public is at open mic stuff. The one in Connacht, very laid back, lovely guys, and a really supportive environment. If you are playing in places where people are telling you you're rubbish, don't play there, play somewhere else, because there's no such thing. It's just get out there and do it.
Wairarapa musicians typically have to drive over the remotakas to Wellington to showcase their musical talents. Steve has high hopes for a live music venue closer to home.
I think a venue would be great, and I arrived in the Wairarapa after King Street Live closed. It would be great to have a sort of mid-sized venue where touring acts could come along, and I think that's a sort of nice driver for people who, not everyone can travel over the hill and go to a big gig over there. But, if there were regular outlets for local musicians and touring people, then it puts it out there as an opportunity and a something to build towards.
And for this show, Steve really threw caution to the wind, even taking off his glasses, which never usually leave his face.
I'd just like to say that you encouraged me to take my glasses off, and it wasn't an attempt at looking cool because I know I'm well beyond that.
Here's Steve performing two of his tracks, recorded live by Local Focus.
Kia ora, ko Steve Rendle ho, ko Top Dresser tēnei. I'm really happy to be able to play a couple of songs for New Zealand Music Week. The last time I saw her, she was driving down the Castle Point Road, away from you, headed for Wainuiru. She'd been talking to the man who manages the volunteer fire brigade. He was ideally placed to pour cold water on the plans she'd made. I can't tell you much about the nature of their relationship, or if a fire burnt between them. If it did, you think you just let it burn for once. But actually, People do what comes naturally. I fell in with a loud crowd who drove their cars to a standstill. What I mean by that is they drove their cars and they stood still, hands in their pockets, staring under bonnets. I'd like to shave a few thou off their heads. If I'm honest, they got means an opportunity to leave the community. But the getaway stalls at the takeaway. Obviously, people do what comes naturally. He was parked up in a house truck outside of Riversdale. Sand blowing through the only window that opened. A little reorientation might have improved the situation, but you could say that about a lot of things. You shot a chip shop couple will have his back when it comes to the crunch. But you can only trust a metaphor like that so much when you've woken the baby one too many times with rock and roll stuff. People do what comes naturally. People do what comes naturally. People do what comes naturally. I get to do another song. This one's called The Circus of Life, and it's based on a road sign I saw down south somewhere, Carterton, Greytown, which was advertising a circus. A delight for all ages was promised, and so here we go. The circus of life is in town. Delight for all ages if you gather round. The toothless tigers and the serious clown. And the big tops are the past tense now. The bearded lady and the seven dwarfs. The silent giant, the miniature horse. You got a sneaky peek at the conjoined twins. And the monkey boy nobody really believes in. Life would be easy as a strong man. Life would be simple if I caught you every time. Life would be straightforward if I was more flexible. Life would be a blast as a cannonball. Well, the life thrower knows he can never miss. His beautiful assistant appreciates this, but when the gloom descends to the dark beneath, she thinks about catching bullets with her teeth. And the tattooed man from head to toe carries a secret you'll never know in a tiny spot in the small of his back. They ran out of red, so they wrote it in black. Life would be easy as a strong man. Life would be simple if I caught you every time. Life would be straightforward if I was more flexible. Life would be a blast as a cannonball. Well, the lion tamer's work is done. The lions are tame if you want one. Seesaw, I saw, do, re, you. An elephant's foot and an elephant's shoe. And the fortune teller is overdue, but when it comes to the future, tomorrow will do. She can touch your hand with the cards she reads. But won't
One look in your eye is all she needs. Life would be easy as a strong man. Life would be simple if I caught you every time. Life would be straightforward if I was more flexible. Life would be a blast as a cannonball. Well, the ringmaster contemplates the Newtonian physics of the spinning plates and the geometry of the rings, and the maths behind the aging on things. Life would be easy as a strong man. Life would be simple if I caught you every time. Life would be straightforward if I was more flexible. Life would be a blast as a cannonball. As a cannonball. As a cannonball.